Hey y'all, happy Friday. I'm so excited to have you to join the live stream. I want you to start to think about a world where every step that you took and every choice that you made was able to leave behind something that was true. And that's what we will be talking about in this live stream this morning is about how your character will take you further than your skills. So if you are one that you desire to operate at a level of not just being great, but you really want to be true, this is the live stream for you. If you follow any of the content that I put out, you know how big I am on character, right? You guys know how big I am on you being able to operate at a level that does not just bring you success, but it brings you success that feels good. So I wanted to talk about this morning, what that looks like, especially you guys, because that's like the majority of the people that I really talk to. Of course, anybody can get value from any of my content, but the people that I really talk to is those that are already in leadership positions or you are on your way there. So I wanted to talk about this morning how when you are in these kind of roles, right, or if you are striving to be, you should already be in a place to where you're not just thinking about what you have to do, but you really start thinking about who is it that you need to be, right? Because I can't be throwing y'all these generic tips about your resume and your pay and that stuff. Not saying that it's not important, but it definitely does has its place. But I want to talk about this morning how you being able to just operate out of a good place, out of a good heart is going to bring you further than all of these great skills and all of these fancy degrees that you have. And what really sparked this topic in my mind was this. I had a chat this week with one of the clients I have, right? And she was saying how, she has been in her role for the last, I believe, like 4 years. And so she has not seen any kind of advancement at all. And so I'm the kind of person, right? When you tell me that you have not advanced at all, I think it's either two things that's happening. Of course, it could be more, but it's really two main things. Either you have not yet asked for what it is that you need or want, right? Or it's like an actual growth gap there, right? Meaning that it's something, it's a growth gap that is stopping you from really positioning yourself as that next choice, right? And so as we started to like deep dive more into it, right? The first thing she started to say was that she had all of this experience and all of these great skills, and she did. Like she had great wins. But as we started to get more into the soft skills, right? Those soft skills in her that were not as strong as they should be, especially since she was getting ready to move into she was trying to move into a director position. As we started to like get more into those soft skills, started to kind of uncover some things, right? And, when we first started to really deep dive into this, she got a little defensive, and I don't take that stuff to heart. Like, I know anytime when you kind of touch a spot that's a little soft, that I just know how to work you through that because I've had some clients who have gotten a little upset with me on a Zoom call with me. And again, in the moment, I don't take these things to heart because I know that when you start to like uncover things that it doesn't feel good and it makes you feel vulnerable, right? And so I know that she really wasn't upset with me. It was just she was starting to experience a emotion that she didn't really like to. So as I helped her to like move through that, I started seeing, and she started seeing that, hold on, what was really holding me back from this role? It wasn't that I didn't have enough experience, is that I wasn't operating in full integrity, right? And people are so focused on trying to get the right skills, right? I'm not saying that skills are not important, but the first thing that you need to think about is what are your values? I think I talk about values every live stream. my God, I talk about values all the time because, when you talk about values, those are the beliefs that you have that will guide you to make the moves that you do. And then when you talk about character, that's more about these specific traits that you have, right? And then when you talk about integrity, that's just about you being honest. And so, one, you got to get clear on what are your values. Like, what are the beliefs that you have that guide you throughout the day at work or just in your overall life to where, this is what make things mean something for you. Right. And so, as I was talking with my client, we really started to realize, like, hold on, you are not clear on what the values are. And so when you are operating in your careers, especially at a certain point, right, especially when you now have to lead other people and the values that you have are not clear, it makes you feel off, right? It makes you feel unstable. So I want to know this. If you are clear on your values, meaning the beliefs that guide you, right, at this time in your life, because the values that you had in the last 5 years, they may have changed, because this is really important, right? Because if you, especially in a leadership position, if your values are not clear, you won't ever feel sure in the moves that you make, in the shots that you call, because the majority of the time, if not majority, I can say all the time, if the values that you have are not clear, you make the moves or the shots that you do based upon what you think everybody else wants. And I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. That makes you a weak leader, right? But I'm not saying that you should not be concerned about the people that you lead. I'm not saying that you should not think about them. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that when it comes down to you having to make the call, having to make the shot, if all you base it on is what you feel like other people want, and it's not even in alignment with the goals that you have, right, that makes you very weak. And I'm not saying weak as you overall, but I'm meaning the influence that you have is not there, right? And so, that goes into the whole character thing, right? It's like when you start to think about you having to lead, like, what is the foundation of that? Like, what is it that you know about yourself, right? And not just about yourself, but where you are now, that you can find yourself standing in it and being able to make a move in a shot, knowing that it's beyond what you feel other people will think about you, but it is rooted in what you truly believe in. And then this goes back to even so important to talk about all the time of like knowing who you work for, understanding that the values that you have and the values that they have, they gotta be in alignment, because you'll never reach a place of you being able to feel sure about how you lead if the environment that you're in and you don't hold the same values. Yes, skills are important, but once you reach a certain level in your career, stop focusing so much on skills. And if you focus on skills, focus on those soft skills, right? Because the hard skills got you to where you are now. The hard skills got you those wins. But when you reach that point in your career where you are ready to move past just the focus of the role that you have now, and now you find yourself desiring to expand your reach, and you want to expand the impact that you make, and you want to expand the actual influence that you have, and you really, really want to drive to true change, and you really want to pour into people around you, and you really want to be able to serve at a more deeper level with your skills. It has nothing to do with hard skills, right? It's about soft skills, because you can have all of these great skills in the world, but if you don't know how to deal with people and you don't know how to operate out of a place of just integrity, you may reach some level of success, because I know that we can all look around and see people that do not have integrity. And child, it looked like these people are succeeding. It looked like these people are rising to the top, okay? But in reality, we know deep down, like, you're not happy with yourself. Mm-mm. Like, even if they do experience a level of success, we know that you're not happy with yourself because you understand that the moves that you're making is not based on anything but vanity. Meaning, when I say vanity, meaning it's only based upon how you think other people receive what you've done. And that is vain. Meaning, and I say that's vain because how people feel about you, child, it is fickle. It changes from hour to hour, right? Changes from day to day. And so when you base your career, when you base how you lead, when you base your values upon what you think other people want from you, you will always, always be in a very unstable place, right? You won't find yourself being able to be sure. And guess what? You cannot build anything from that. You won't have any legacy when you don't have solid values. And so I want you guys to start to even think about in your career and where you are, right? What are the moves being made based upon? How you show up in the workplace every day? Like, what is that being based upon? Because you guys know I could be very blunt about, find an example of things you guys heard me say. One thing I say, they are not doing you a favor when they hire you. Like, and I stand on that. I stand 10 toes down when I say that they are not doing you a favor when they hire you, because they have a thing that needs to be solved, a problem in your skill set solves that for them. So there is no favor being done, right? But I do not want you to believe and think that because they hired you for a problem that has to be solved, that gives you a right to not have any respect or any regard for who you work for. Now, from this point on, if you are not mature, go ahead and sign off now. And I say this because I'm getting ready to talk about some things that will probably go against a lot of what you've heard. And it's going to take a level of you being mature to be able to hear and to be able to understand what I am trying to say. I don't care, right? How much you may not like your job, right? Or who you work for. At the end of the day, these people hired you, right? And you accepted the offer for a job. So, I think maybe like a year ago, there was a thing called, what was it called, y'all? Quiet. What was it called? Quitting. I think that was that's the most childish thing that you can possibly do. And if you have never heard of that, that was the concept of where you would just like slowly stop, I'm not going to say stop doing your job, but you would kind of like back all the way off because you may have felt like there was a certain amount of pay you wasn't getting, or there was some meaning like things wasn't being done right. And I'm not saying that when it comes to who you work for, that they always do everything right, because we all know that that's not true. But I do believe in operating out of a level of integrity, that you understand that you all hired me to do a job. And when you operate out of integrity, y'all, it's not just for the people around you. It's for you. It is a way that you have trained yourself to respond when things are not going the way that you want, right? When you think about that word, it's about being honest. And, even thinking about that and having it, it's not something that you have. I'll say this. It's not always something that you see all the time when everything is going your way, when everything is going right. Having integrity, it will be shown the most in the moments of conflict, in the moments where you feel like you may not have been done right, in the moments where you feel like you may not have received the level of respect that you think that you should have received. That's the moments that it shows through the most. And my thing is, I say it's important to have a level of maturity, is that you understand that I would rather remove myself out of a space before I allow myself to not operate out of integrity. Now, it goes back to saying that if you hired me for a job and I accepted the offer, that means that I have said that I will do the job that you hired me for. Now with this whole, what was it called again? Quiet, whatever it was called thing in the past year, the concept was with you would just slowly not do your job, or you would just do like the very bare, right? Again, I feel like you're not operating out of a level of integrity. Because if something in your environment isn't going the way that you think that it should be, or you feel like you are not being able to receive the respect that you should be, that is where conversations should start, not pouting. And that is what happens when you are in environments that don't feel aligned at the moment, is when you just tend to just shut all the way down rather than use your voice and start to have conversations. When you feel a moment of conflict, that's the time to start having conversations, because that is just what having a level of maturity does for you. Again, because you understand, I need to operate out of integrity, not because, right, I want everybody in the room to agree with me, but because I need to be able to live with myself. And that's really what it is. When you find yourself at work having to deal with hard things, how you respond, you don't realize that you will train yourself how to respond to things. And we will train ourselves all day long without even realizing it. But, when you find yourselves in these hard moments, in these I'm talking about space get tight, okay? Tight spaces. This is a time for you to think of, okay, what is it that I need to lean on? Is it going to be my emotions, or is it going to be my integrity? Because it's not the same thing. Because, child, these emotions will have you all over the place. But that character, those traits about you, because traits and emotions are not the same thing, right? Because emotions are based upon what is happening at that moment, but your character is who you are. Your emotions are only based upon the effects of what's happening at that moment, but your character, right, is who you are. There are times when my emotions, they're not aligning with my character, right? Because your emotions will say, cut them off. Those emotions will say, okay, don't, like, the emotions will say, like, just tell them a little piece of your mind. It don't even have, it don't even have to be the whole thing. Tell them a little piece of it. But that character will say, nope, I don't have to fight every battle. Right? That will tell you, I don't have to force myself through this conversation. No, I don't have to yell and scream. Right? But having that, guys, is so important, because I want you to don't just think about where you are now. I want you to think about where you want to go. And how you are acting now sets the path of where you want to go. Okay. I had a client I worked with, and she was in a season. She was like, Alicia, I'm ready to leave. Right. And one thing about me, like, if you want to work with me, you have to talk with me first. Right, I got to be able to see if you are a good fit for me, because, and I haven't always been this way. Like, I just started to get like really kind of strict with this about maybe like 6 or 8 months ago. I don't like to work with people who don't have a job at the time. And let me explain, right? Because when you work with me, I like to work out of like purpose and not panic. But I do understand that, when you don't have a job, child, you got bills to pay, right? And so it can bring you into a level of panic. And how I coach my clients, I'm a lot more focused on development stuff. I do help them advance in their careers, but I don't really like to help people just with a job search, right? Because I know in that season, especially if you don't work, it's a level of rushing you, right? And so I do believe that the best time to look for what's next for you and start to plan is when you currently have a job. So now we can sit down and plan, and there's no rush. There's no, oh, child, all these bills adding up. I went through that with clients, and I'm like, I can't, because the transformation that I give my clients is so much more than just a new job. Like, we are talking about growth gaps. We are talking about values. Like, the work I do with my clients is deep, and it cannot just be about you getting a job, because it just brings a level of weight on me. I'm like, mm-mm. So, but again, if you got savings and a husband and all the other kind of stuff, and you like, girl, I'm good. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. But if you come to me in panic mode, child, I can't help you. I just can't, right? But I can definitely refer you to some people who can. I like to sit down with my clients and be intentional. And I do know in seasons where there is a lack, meaning you like, I need a job now, it's hard to be intentional in those seasons. I've been there, okay? So I had a client that I was working with, right? And when she came to me, she said, I am ready to go. I'm like, look, okay, this is how I coach. This is how it will go, right? Meaning I had to be sure that we were both aligned. So she sends me a text, right? She said, Alicia, I am grabbing my bag and I'm getting ready to walk out. I said, friend, if you are not if you are not experiencing violence, if you are not being harassed, if you are not, like, if you feel like that you are in some great extreme environment, I said, go back to your desk. I said, and calm down. Because what happened was, it was the same person that she always deals with just caught her, and I'm gonna say this, on the wrong day. So at the moment, the environment seemed really tense to her. She felt like, I can't do this. But what she did not realize was, you've been through worse than this there, right? And what she did not realize was that you are about to react to something rather than respond, right? So I told her, I said, go to lunch, see if you can take off the rest of the day. Like, let's center ourselves so we have a life of responding to something and not reacting. And so I'll talk to her the next day, and she was like, I'm so glad you like walked me off of that cliff. She said, and then again, we started to talk about, like, hey, what really happened here? And when we started to deep dive, it wasn't just what had happened. She also had things at home that was all over the place, right? And so what was happening was, in the moment, she felt like, man, I can't deal with this. And this is what I want to, like, free you with. Be free. You don't have to deal with everything in the moment. Give yourself an opportunity to, like, process stuff. Give yourself an opportunity to weigh stuff. Give yourself an opportunity to train yourself that I don't have to respond to every single thing. Everything does not require your focus. Everything does not require a response for you. But it's like, give yourself an opportunity to train yourself that I don't have to respond to everything. But it does go back again, y'all, and we're still talking about character, right? We're still talking about being able to lead in a way that's going to allow you to not just do good things, but feel good about what you do. And this goes into you even having a way to build trust. It's easy to trust somebody that is, I'm going to say two things: somebody that is transparent, and somebody that who shows a level of control over themselves. Because we all have worked with, lived with, been friends with somebody that didn't have any control of how they would respond to something or what would come out of their mouth. And it's hard to trust people like that. Now, you may very well love them, you may like them, you may not even mind spending time with them, but when it comes to you having a level of trust, it's a little shaky. And this is for you that are in leadership, because it comes down to a point to where you are almost like, how am I able to trust you to lead me when you can't even lead yourself, when you can't even guide yourself? So how am I supposed to trust you to lead me anywhere? And that's why I talk about, and even in my group, I'm going to start to really teach about this, is self leadership. Like, how are you like leading yourself? Like, and then there's the thing, like, what are you leading yourself to? Because you being able to master yourself, child, you can master anything. When you can master yourself, when you can get control over yourself, you can master anything. Why? Because first of all, only person that you can control in this life is you. I don't care if you got kids. Maybe you can control them to a certain extent. Right? But at the end of the day, you can really only control, like, how many kids have we seen that have grew up in like great homes? I mean, the environment they grew in was great, but them kids go up and they do their own thing, right? Because you can't control somebody, but who you can control is you. You can't control how you respond to things, right? You can control what you allow to be absorbed into you, right? And so it in the workplace, you can find it being a struggle to uphold the values that you have, right? And still bring forth the results that they want from you. But this goes back to the word alignment, right? When you're going through the interview process, what are the questions that you ask them? The questions that you ask them need to be based upon the values that you have. It does not need to be something that sounds smart. Yes, there is a verse in the Bible that says that. I'm sorry. It does not need to be based upon things that sound smart. It needs to be based upon the values, because when you base the questions that you have on the values that you have, child, now it allows you to get some insight, as in not just what you will be doing, but who you will be working for. Now, granted, people lie. So you can very well go into the process and say all the great things, and child, these people will say anything sometimes. But it allows you to hold them accountable to something, right? And it allows you to know that if you get on that job and the ship starts sinking, child, you know, okay, I did not get on this ship blindly. I got on this ship under the impression that the ship was like this. But now that I see that the ship ain't like this, let me get my life vest and hop off this thing. And it allows you to know that, okay, I did. And it allows you to like think back on, okay, when I accepted this job, did I ignore the red flags, right? Did I ignore the spirit telling me this ain't the one? Like, and so when you know that you do everything right and the ship still sinks, you know, hey, the ship just sunk. But it but it wasn't because I chose the wrong ship. I thought this was the right ship because this is what it looked like. And so when you move in that way, you won't experience all of this regret that you can experience in your career, because you understand that I look in to the things that I do. But I'll say this. If you have found yourself in a place to where, hey, you know what? I did not ask the questions that I should have. I ignored all the red flags. I did not pray about this. I just hopped on this thing because it was looking good, and I just own it. Own it, right? But I will say that if you find yourself in an environment that you're not happy with, lean in to that. Let bad experiences show you what you want. Because most people will hop in a bad experience and things don't really go well, and you like, oh, I just don't know what it is that I want. Child, you was just in a bad experience. That should have clearly highlighted, clearly shown you what you want. Because if you are not happy there, that means that it's something that you want that is not there. So if you are in environments that you don't feel aligned, you are in environments that don't feel good, you are in environments that don't help you to unlock your full potential, lean into that and figure out what is not here that I need. But don't get caught up in them, all these emotions, but get down to the root of, why do I even feel this? What is it in my environment that makes me feel like I cannot speak up and share ideas? And ask yourself, is it really the environment that makes me feel this way? Or is it how I train myself to respond if I feel like everybody does not agree with me? Because that's two separate things. It's one thing if you work in a environment that does not have the culture for you to speak up and share any ideas you have or give feedback. It's another thing if you have trained yourself not to give feedback. Two different things. So this is that fork in the road when you ask yourself, is the problem my environment or is the problem me? Because we cannot be ones that always want to play victim. Granted, there are some environments that will choke you, meaning, child, it's known here to come to work and be quiet and go home. That's just the way it is because everybody's like this. Or everybody's like this, or a certain kind of people is like this. I ain't gonna get into that. Or is it because you have made yourself to believe that that's how you should be at work? Two separate things. Because you have to be able to know what's the problem here, because you can find yourself spending so much time on what you think the problem is. And child, that ain't the problem. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And what this looks like is you find yourself going from job to job thinking, oh, if I go here, things won't be this way. But then you go there and child, things the same way. You go here, child, things the same way. You go here. So if you didn't want to 3, 4 jobs, 3, 4, 5 jobs, and everything is the same, what is the common denominator? The power of self-awareness. And when you think about self-awareness, that is not something that you use to criticize yourself to the point to where you feel discouraged. That's not what it's for. What it is for is it's a tool for you that before you judge anything else, you can judge you, right? Before you become conclusive on anybody else, you judge you first. Meaning, okay, let me see what part did I play in this? And I believe that you being self-aware is almost the same as you being mature. Like, it's just, I feel like you can't have one without the other, because I have not always been that way. I haven't. So I always say I'm not talking at you, friend. I'm talking with you, because I have not always been that way. That's something that I had to pray, and then thank God for the Lord. He had to come and change some things in my heart, because at one point in time, it's you. No, it's you. No, it's this little finger right here. Right here. Stayed pointing at everybody else. Stay, right? Right. But it's like once you get to a level to where you're like, you know what? If I experience the same things everywhere I go, be like, what's the problem here? Like, let me really, really get down. And you don't know how you being this way, y'all. It is going to unlock so many opportunities. I believe and I can't really say these stats is like concrete, but get the point I'm making. Because what I'm saying is like most, right? But I believe like 75% of people, and I almost want to say 80, 85, don't have what they want because it's a lack of self-awareness, right? Because if you don't have self-awareness, guess what's the only thing that's left? Guess. And I'll wait. I ain't gonna say nothing. Guess. If you don't have self-awareness, guess what's the only thing that's left? Guess. Excuses. If you don't have awareness of yourself, the only thing that's left is excuses, right? But it's so important to like hold on and embrace that, even in the moments when you don't want to even look at you. Is it brings a level of just empowerment. And that's the thing about being self-aware, is not saying that everything is always going to be your fault. I'm not saying that. But what it does do, I say this, I believe that when you have a level of awareness, I believe that it allows you to extend grace, right? I believe that it allows you to extend the level of just compassion. Because I feel like anybody that's like very hard or very like just very, know it all, I feel like you have no awareness of yourself. Because I feel like the more that you are aware of yourself, the more you understand like just the overall path that you yourself have been on. So it's like when you see somebody like they live out of a place that you were once in, it's like it just allows you to extend grace and not criticize, because you understood, okay, I was once there, right? And it allows you to really be able to connect and engage with the people around you, because it's like now you don't lead out of a place of all you want to do is just judge people, but it's like now you lead out of a place of like service, to where you really want to be able to pour in to the people around you, especially when you see somebody that is where you once was, and you understand like the path and the journey that it took you to get to this place. It just breeds out grace. Like it just allows you to be able to be like, look, it's like this is like, it's like you don't look down on people to just look down on them, but sometimes you look down on people to kind of extend out a hand and say, girl, come on up here, friend, right? But it's not in a condescending way, but it is in a way of like where you really do understand that where you are now, it didn't happen by chance. It happened by you being aware of yourself and being able to like take the courage to change. How many know it take courage to change something about yourself that you've been a long time? My God, I know I'm not the only one. And don't let you have to change something that you felt was right. Oh, it takes it takes a level of courage. It takes a level of just like maturity to say, you know what, this may have once worked for me, or maybe it never really worked. I just got here way harder than what it had to be, but maybe this never really worked for me. But I think it takes a level of like maturity to where you just be like, you know what, let's just do what needs to be done so I can get to where I really want to be. And I think if people like look at it like that, like first of all, like, when you talk about changing something and even going like beyond that, like being able to change something about yourself, girl, like give yourself a hand clap, right? Being able to like deconstruct a way about yourself that you've always had, girl, that takes work. It takes the grace of God. Like you like something supernatural just happened to me. You like, and it's, I say that because sometimes when hard things come to us, we feel like, oh, okay, this is just too much. Like this is a lot. But I'm be like, friend, you done went through way harder stuff than this, right? Being able to like own where you have come from, it gives you a level of just, it's like a level of just thankfulness that you understand that, hey, like I have full control over who it is that I want to be. And I'm going to use that in a way that is going to serve me and not harm me. So, y'all know I was always come with y'all with my notes, okay? And it's so funny, y'all, like, because I sit down and I write all my notes out because I don't like to waste y'all time on these live streams, just be popping up on here with nothing. I don't like that. And also, I'm a very structured person. But as I was writing this, I was like, I feel like I could write a whole book on this. But the last thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about being able to lead by example, right? When you are a leader, and we're still talking about your integrity and character is going to bring you further than you could ever think. When you're talking about being a leader, you should be leading by example, because it's an old saying. I know we all know this saying, right? That people will do not what you say, but they will do what you do, right? And I don't think people realize that the most powerful leadership tool you have is your example, because people are watching you. I don't care if they don't ever talk to you, if they don't ever address anything with you, people are watching. And the most powerful leadership tool I think you have is your example. Like what is it that you show? And it's the thing, even when you are in a lead position, it's just not about, it's just not about how you lead other people. It's also about, like, how do you live out the values that you say that you have? Like, what does that look like on an everyday thing? Like how are you, like how do you live out what you believe? Like, if I looked at you and if I looked at how you lead, could I clearly see what your values are? Like, am I able to, like, clearly see what you believe in? Like how clear is that is shown? Super important, right? Because the majority, if not all of my clients that I work with, right, they want to leave legacy, meaning that, like, when they are not here, or when they move on to something else, because it's not only about you die, it's also about when you leave a place. Like, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? Like what is the print that you want to leave behind? But in order to know what you want to leave behind, you have to be able to know, like, what should you lead with, right? And again, that should be centered around your values and your beliefs and what is it that you hold dear. And I've had a few bosses, and I believe I had one that really left something with me, right? And I could tell that one of the things that this one they really held high was just, again, integrity. Like, she had no problem, sharing with the team when she dropped the ball, or she had no problem in the moments where, like, we're always sitting down and having to talk and plan something out, and, like, we would have to know something, and her response was like, y'all, I don't really know. Right? Meaning, like, she did not force herself to have to give an answer that she knew that she didn't have. And so it was like, the more honest she was, and even sometimes the responses that she had, even though to her it may not have felt like she looked like the boss, it really allowed us to have a lot more respect for her, because we understood that how she led, it wasn't just about her. Like, how she led was out of a place of just respect for everybody on the team. So it's almost like I would rather sit here and be open with you guys and be honest and admit that in this moment I don't know, than just throw out something and lead us all down the wrong path. And in those moments where she would maybe say, you know what, guys, I thought that this shot was good, but you know what? Now that I really have sat with it, I realized that shot was not something that we should have done. Girl, it made us respect her even the more. It made us want to be, like, on her team even the more. And what it did was, it really, like, bred an environment of, like, just, like, transparency transparency, because now it wasn't like everybody was trying to prove to everybody else that, oh, I'm smart like this. It was like, hey y'all, let's just come together and do what we need to do in order to reach this goal. But child, that was only one. One of the things I was talking about was, being able to like lead by example. And you being able to lead by example is like one of, if not the most powerful leadership tool that you have. Like, it is not about how smart you are, right? It is not about if you get everything right. But what it's about is like, what are you like leading people to and with, right? And so, and like I was saying before, like a lot of the clients that I work with, they really want to leave behind some kind of like legacy. But I know that can be hard when you're only thinking about like those short-term wins, right? When you want to focus on how is it that I can get what I want to get, or respond in the way that I want to respond right now, and still build something of value down the road. But it does take a level of you being able to think about is how I'm responding in this moment. Is it going to lead me towards the thing that I really want? And so that's kind of something that I really want to like leave you guys with. And so if you have not thought about what are your values, like my friend, take this weekend and really start thinking about that. Like, what are the values that you have? And if you know your values, start thinking about if those values are being shown in the way that you lead. I'll say it again. Like, if I could like look at you in the role, in the job, how you lead, would I be able to like clearly see what you believe in and what values is it that you have? Right? I know this wasn't your average like career live stream, but if you like really grab hold to what I share with you, you are getting ready to unlock a level in your career that you never thought possible. Because who you are is going to determine what you do and what you get. That's just the reality. I myself this morning, you guys know that I've been operating my own business full time now for almost 4 years. And I myself this morning had to like check myself about an area where I was not operating out of integrity with. And it's not because I knew it, but it was like once I slowed down and I started to like look at all the different projects that I have going on. Because right now, just even in my group, I'm in the process of having to record just all of these new things that's being dropped in my group. And so I've been really, really, really busy. I can't even tell y'all how busy I have been. Like, and so as I sat down this morning and I kind of like finally sat down and like looked at like everything that I have going on, I noticed the area where I like dropped the ball. I'm like, I dropped the ball in this. Like, I did not operate out of integrity, meaning that I did not give myself in this area as I should have. And guess what I did? Immediately went to go make it right. Right? I didn't make any excuses, right? I went to go and get the thing right. So even if you felt like on this live stream, like, girl, Alicia, you was on my toes this morning, just go get it right. like just tell yourself from this point on, I'm not going to be that way again. And also walk in it, because understand that even if you decide to like change something about you, know that it's going to take consistent, just over and over again, doing it over and over again until it finally becomes you, befriend. In just a few more days, you'll start to see growth in your life that you never thought that you would. Again, if you did not catch the full live stream, this live stream will be uploaded on my channel on YouTube. So go and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube at I am Alicia Perkins, and you can go ahead and find all of my past live streams. Yeah, I have like over 100, I think 115 videos over there. This is what consistency looks like. And I'm not saying this to like say I'm so great, right? But last year, starting off in 2023, I told myself, right, that I would go live every week. And I not only went live every week, I went live sometime like 3 times a week. Now, did I miss a week or 2 or 3? Probably, right? Because times I got sick, times I was out of town, right? But because I told myself that I would go live at least once a week, and some weeks I even went live 2 and 3 times, friend. Even in those weeks that I did miss, it evened out. And I want to show you the power of being consistent, the power of being able to stick to something, the power of being able to say, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. It's just, and this is the person I used to be so scared to death to hop on live streams. Like, I don't think people know how awkward this is to go and talk on a camera. Like, I see you guys down below in the chat box, and this is why I asked for you all's engagement, because it helps me. But y'all, it's weird to sit up here and talk to a camera and you can't hear nobody, right? But now I've come to like love it, like, because this is how I engage with you guys. This is how I meet with you guys. This is how I can talk with you and share with you. But at first it was awkward. It was like, but now, like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can go and find some live streams because I think I started back like at the end of maybe like 2022. And I'm going to see if I can go find some, because y'all, if you would see how I was now and how I was then, I was a whole different person, right? Because I feel like, oh, if I'm on live, then I have to be like, I was like this. I was like, hi guys. Y'all know that's not me. But I felt like I had to be a certain way. I felt like I had to like sound a certain way, and just, you know, I had to sound smart. But now you guys know this is me. I laugh loud. I laugh a lot, you know, and I love the feel of being able to like talk with you guys, like just as friends, because I feel like we are friends. And so, you know, and if you ever decide to work with me in my group or work with me, what you see is what you get, because I don't want to come up here like, yes, and Zara, and then you meet me, you like, who is this? No, what you see is what you get, right? And I want to encourage you guys also. I want you guys to also to just be the same way. Being able to understand that you all by yourself is enough. Understand that you are not everybody's cup of tea, and guess what? That's okay. You don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. So don't feel like you have to come off a certain way or have to like look a certain way. Again, if you want to work with me one-to-one to go to that next level in your career, let's talk. Also, I do have a group called The Best You. The Best You. I'm going to say it again. The Best You. Okay. This group is about career growth and also leadership growth. But this group is not just focused on you being a great employee. This group is focused on you being the best you. Okay. And so if you want more information on how to work with me inside of my group, let's chat. The doors will be opening again in about a couple of weeks. And so if you want to see if you are a good fit for that, let's chat. And if you guys don't have any questions, let me see. I think I'm good. Okay. All right. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a wonderful day. Bye. Oh, wait, hold on. Is somebody? Okay, I'm good. You guys have a great day. Bye.